And hello, movie lovers, and welcome to the show. So tonight I have my good friend Kyle Barone with me. He has a little business that he wants to go ahead and talk about, but we're also going to be talking about old childhood movies that we grew up on, and of course other shenanigans to go along with that as well. Because boy, do we have stories! But anyways, go on ahead and enjoy the show. Sit back and relax, and let's get on with the show. Hey, what's going on, dude?
How's it going, man? Thanks for having me.
You're welcome anytime. So, how you been doing? What you been up to?
Not too much, man. Been doing really good. Just keeping busy. And as you mentioned before, I got a business I'm starting. It's called Baroni's Mobile Detailing. If you're in the Central Ohio area, we offer interior detailing services for pretty much everybody. Vans, trucks, cars, work cars, farm trucks, anything. Give me a call. It's facebook.com, Baroni's Detailing, Barones Detailing.
There you go. You get an Italian boy going ahead, do your car and everything, and forget
You
about
know
it.
it. Forget
So there you
about it. It's
go.
gonna be
Forget
done.
about it, you know? So, anyways, dude. So, when I was thinking about this episode here,
Mhm.
I was thinking about everything that we've encountered when we were little and going through different stuff and
Absolutely.
nostalgia. Because nostalgia is a big thing now, if you actually look at it. You have
Mhm.
Stranger Things with the 1980s stuff. I don't know if you
Absolutely.
watched. Do you watch Stranger Things or anything like
I've
that?
caught up to season 3. I haven't caught up to season 4 yet.
Okay, so at least I know that you're watching Stranger Things, so that's a good
Just a little bit.
thing, right? But nostalgia is a big thing now because
Mhm.
there's also this thing where basically it's good to have nostalgia and have good memories of stuff that you remember as a kid, but at the same time, is it nostalgia to push the plot, or is it just there for the sake of being there and not do anything? So at least with
Mhm.
Stranger Things, is actually pushing the plot along,
I have to
but
agree.
the thing that I really want to touch on is this with Jurassic Park. Remember when we saw Jurassic Park on the big screen for like the very first time?
It was
We were in
amazing.
second grade and seeing those
Really? Were
effects.
we?
Yeah, we were in second grade when that first one came
Man,
out.
wow, it's been a long time then. Yeah, it was amazing to see in the theaters. I was anticipating it weeks before it even came out.
It's just crazy, dude. Like, I remember when Steven Spielberg was saying this is actually going to be defining special effects. It's going to be a movie that you haven't seen before. You're mixing in with practical effects with CGI effects,
Mhm.
and you're not sure how it's going to turn out. And of course, at that time, there was no internet or anything like that to get geeked
Mhm.
out over. All you saw was a trailer. You wind up seeing the Jeep being turned upside down. You see a big print, and then the Jurassic Park logo showed up.
Yep. Oh man, I
And
can still feel the goosebumps.
me too. And I wish that movie theaters would actually do this though.
Mhm.
Is I remember going to Bogalusa because that's basically was the closest one that, if you remember, was actually the closest one that you can think of.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I remember on the premiere of Jurassic Park,
Mhm.
they had this thing covered up with leaves, looks like a jungle and stuff like that. And then they were also passing out like little goodies at the end of the movie. I'm like,
Yep.
you know what? That was an awesome cinematic experience as a
It
kid.
really was. It absolutely was, man. And I honestly I haven't experienced anything like that since that time.
Same. I just wish that movie theaters would actually do that because you don't
Mhm.
see that anymore or anything like that. That's one thing I miss is movie theaters going all out for their audiences
Yeah.
and doing stuff like that, making it feel special and memorable. Now it's like,
Exactly.
here's your ticket, go sit down and reserve your seats, eat your taco, eat your,
Yeah, here's your
eat your
overpriced
nachos.
popcorn.
Right. Exactly. But, I do have to say, over at the place that I go to, or used to
Mhm.
go to, over at the Grand, the thing that I liked was the fact when I saw Stephen King's It, chapter 2, they actually did have someone dress up like Pennywise
At the theater.
at the theater
That's pretty
and everything.
cool.
Yeah. So they actually had somebody dress up like that. So therefore, I actually like that. And also, too, they also
Mhm.
have the balloons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, they actually went all out for that. They also went all out for Halloween for the 2019 Halloween
Mhm.
movie
Okay.
as well, because there was actually a cemetery gate, and you had the animatronic of Michael Myers going like this with a knife.
Yeah.
I'm like, I thought that was like the coolest thing that you would, because I don't see theaters doing that much
No, not at all.
or anything.
I honestly haven't been to a movie since 2019. I know I'm on the Movie Lovers Unite podcast and videocast here, and I'm slacking, man. I have to say.
Hey, that's why you have me here. That's why you watch this show, so that way you
Exactly.
can get
I'm
caught
up on the
up.
movies, actually. I don't need to
But
see them. I have you.
exactly. And I know that you're wanting to see Top Gun, Maverick, and everything.
Do yes, I definitely do.
But what? Okay, when you're going into the theater and everything, my question is this: do you go under the line of what the critics say, or are you going under your own anticipations, or do you have any questions about how the Top Gun Maverick movie actually is in tone?
Honestly, I always go into every movie the same. Like I get the reviews, I take them for a grain of salt, and then I go in with my own expectations. I don't want to be influenced either way. So I'm hoping that, it's been a while since I've seen the original Top Gun. I'd say probably 15 years, 10 years. But the expectation is nothing. I want to go in and experience it for the first time, brand new, and see how it is. And I'm hoping it's really good.
I'm just going to tell you this hands down. This
Hmm.
was I don't give 9.9s, or I
Okay.
don't rate movies in general. I let
Hmm.
people build it on their own experience, because if I rate something so high, I feel like this. Well, he says a 9.9. It's more like a 3.5. That was just a turd fest of a movie. Our anticipation levels might be different from everybody else's. So therefore they're
Absolutely. Yeah.
capitalizing on that anticipation like I'd have.
Hmm.
But that's why I stray away from doing 5 out of 5 or 10 out of 10. But with
For
this
sure.
movie, I had to do a 9.9 rating because it definitely deserves it.
9.9. That's pretty high for you, man.
Yes, and it handles the nostalgia factor very well.
Hmm.
But also too, it allows the film to breathe without having to do callbacks to the other original film, which is something I do
Absolutely.
appreciate. They're allowed the
Hmm.
characters to be the characters.
Okay.
So that's something I really was pleased about. And of course, you also have Rooster, who is actually Goose's son, which is this is not a spoiler, by the way, but it's actually
Okay.
in the movie, in the trailer itself. But you're wondering how that's going to get handled, and they handle everything perfect. Even with Val Kilmer, they do everything right in this movie.
Oh,
So I
beautiful.
strongly recommend it.
I got a free weekend. I might actually go see it this weekend.
All right. But as far as this new Jurassic World was, I was like, well, should I go see Jurassic World or should I go see Top Gun Maverick? I said, I've been hearing mixed reviews from
Hmm.
people, and I don't let the critics or anything like that influence me either, because then that also poo-poos my review,
Exactly.
and stuff like that too. But I also have to listen to what they say in a sense where basically I want to hear about the legend. Basically we have legendary characters now coming back and returning, and I wanted to
Hmm.
know how they were handled. Because if they're just there just to say, "Oh, I'm here. Here's Neil. Here's Malcolm. Here's all the original characters back again." That's
Yeah.
nice, but what does it do for me?
Exactly. I have to agree.
So I'm
I'm
like, what's? I mean, yeah, I'm excited that these characters are back, but what are they doing to motivate the plot with these new characters that we were introduced to in Jurassic World?
hmm I have to agree with you on that one, man. There's a lot of those nuances that are going to come into play. I feel like as the movie series moved on, it definitely strayed from what the first one was. So I don't really know what to
Definitely,
expect on this one, honestly. I'm excited to see the original faces back in there, but I'm a little apprehensive as well, just to see how everything plays out.
me too. Because, like you said, they have strayed away from how the original films were
Hmm.
and everything. And I didn't do a rewatch of any of those Jurassic Park movies or anything like that. But the thing that I liked about the very first Jurassic World was the park is finally opened,
Hmm.
and now we get to see it in a 2015 kind of atmosphere. And it was on the relying of the promise of the fact that the park was open.
Hmm.
So that's why I like it, because of the fact that you're going into the park for the very first time and being introduced to these characters. And
Exactly.
their experience of seeing Jurassic Park or Jurassic World is our first experience as well. So we're sharing an
Exactly.
experience with the characters.
Hmm. And we've been waiting years for that.
Right. So when we finally got it. But nothing is like the very first Jurassic Park, though.
Oh no, absolutely not. I watch it. Honestly, me and my girl, our fiance now, we actually watch it at least once a month together. It's our favorite movie.
I love it. I mean, you have John Williams doing the composing, you have Steven
Mhm.
Spielberg. This is actually the closest that you can get to a dinosaur movie where it has horror elements, but it doesn't stray away from it, doesn't just stay with the horror elements. It goes in with
Exactly.
sci fi, it goes in with cloning, it goes in with everything that you want.
I loved it. Oh, everything you mentioned is the reason why I loved it. No, don't get me wrong. I did love the new ones. I love Jurassic World and all the new ones that came out, but they were just a little bit different in that aspect. It wasn't, I feel like it was less focused on the dinosaurs and how they came there. And now it's the competition between people over the dinosaurs mainly,
Right.
which I'm here for the dinosaurs, not the people.
Right. It's like don't basically with Dominion, I look at it as like basically Planet of the Apes, but with dinosaurs.
That's a good way to put it, actually.
You know, because it's like Dominion over the people.
hmm
So that's the way I looked
Yeah,
at it whenever I'm looking at the title.
yeah,
But
you know, it does make sense.
so that's just me looking outside the box, but at the same time, I
hmm
was a little apprehensive with it,
Yeah,
especially with the last Jurassic Park movie, Jurassic World movie. I didn't really care for it that much. I
it was hit or miss for me. So,
like everything. No, 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 you're good because everything in the first half worked, and then you get into
mhm.
the second half where all's well in the third act where you have these Russians bidding on these dinosaurs.
Yes, yes, that's where it
Like
lost me.
what?
Where did you guys come from?
I'm like, all I can think of is Doctor Evil wanting to put lasers on their heads. I will put the $1 billion on your
$1 million.
$1 million. But yeah, I will drink vodka and I will. But yeah, I could just see it though. But it was just so far fetched for me to the point where I'm like, okay, I'm done. I watched it twice
Mhm,
in theaters because I was thinking to myself, did I miss something the first time, or am I just
mhm.
being clinical to the point where the first one just holds a special place in my heart, or the Jurassic World one holds a special place in my heart as well. So it was like me questioning my own motives of why I didn't like it.
So that goes back to the nostalgia thing. Did we
Right,
really truly love Jurassic Park, or was it just the nostalgia of it?
right, exactly.
I loved it. I
Um,
love Jurassic Park.
but as far as shows that you should check out,
Mhm.
though, is Ozark is a great
Okay.
show. Some people didn't like the season finale. I thought the season finale was pretty good. At first, I was kind of ticked off with it because
Mhm.
of the stuff that happened, but I got over it and I ended up liking it. I also recommend let's see here. Servient I heard was actually good, but it's actually part of Apple TV. I don't know if you had
Okay.
that.
Yeah, no.
Um then there's also, the Marvel shows and things like that
Mhm.
that I watched.
Okay.
So
Man, so there's a lot to catch up on.
definitely. That's one thing about the streaming services though. There's just so much content with so little time. There's no really
Mhm.
enough time to actually catch up with anything.
It's getting hard to keep up with the streaming services. I have Hulu and Disney Plus and ESPN Plus and Paramount Plus. I'm sure I'm missing one. HBO Max.
Right. And that's what I was getting at though too with one of my videos is like this. In order for you to keep your customers engaged and stuff, you have to have the reason for them to come back to it.
Mhm.
And I feel like, with Netflix and everything, you
Netflix.
know, it was the binging era of
Mhm.
Netflix. We haven't
Yep.
seen that before where we can binge everything at once because we grew up on weekly shows.
Oh yeah, I mean it catered to American people where we want instant gratification, force fed everything right now. So it was amazing
Right.
to start.
To start. And now we're getting weekly shows again
hmm
and seeing a slower process and people are enjoying it more.
Now,
And
what
I'm
I heard
liking
that
yeah.
I'm sorry,
No, 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 go on ahead.
I hear that Netflix was not doing so good lately. Is that true?
Yeah, they lost over two they lost like 230,000 subscribers or something like that. I did a
Oof.
whole video on that. And then also too, they also laid off a lot of their workers as well.
Mhm,
You have that going on. You also have people that are in the LGBT community and that works
mhm.
within Netflix and they don't like the way that they're doing business with them and therefore they quit.
Man, Netflix is just batting 1,000, huh?
Yeah. And things are not looking good other than the fact that yeah, you have congratulations, you have one show that just knocked it out of the park just recently. Congratulations to you
Yep.
on that, which is Stranger Things season 4. But
That
what
took them
happens
2 years
after
to put
everyone
out.
right, but just understandable in a sense because of the pandemic and then also
Mhm.
too with
Yeah,
getting
you're
stuff
right.
together.
Mhm.
But when you look at it though, it's like, okay, kudos to you. Give yourself a cookie. You knocked something out of the park, but are people coming back?
No, I honestly I canceled my Netflix membership when they canceled or removed The Office from Netflix, and I haven't really had it since then.
Wow. That's actually dedication right there.
Man, honestly.
because because here's the thing, I was gonna cancel my Netflix
Mhm.
thing because I was like, okay, what do they have coming out? They have Cobra Kai, which I watch because I
Okay.
love it. That's another one that you should binge is Cobra Kai on
Okay.
Netflix. But I love it for the nostalgia factor, but also too it also handles things in the right way.
Okay.
But which is also dealing with the Karate Kid.
Of
But
course.
and also too, you also have the Umbrella Academy that's rolling out
I heard
soon,
that
and
was
then
really good.
yes. So I'm like, well, crap. I
Mhm.
can't. Yeah, I was like, well, crap. I can't cancel Netflix now
Mhm.
because you're rolling out with Academy, and then you also broke Stranger Things 2, Stranger Things season 4 into two parts, one coming out this month recently, and then one coming out in July, and
Mhm.
then finishing up on season 5. But I said this in the video. I'm like, well, you have to have a reason for the audiences to come back.
Mhm. Absolutely.
And if they binge everything all at one time, they're not going to come back. They don't have a reason to come back because they
Nope.
already binged and watched that show.
That's true. That's kind of
So
honestly where I'm at now. There's so many shows I've watched, so many that I've wanted to the end that I feel like there's nothing to watch when there's thousands of things to watch.
exactly, it just depends on what your interests are and
Mhm.
what you're wanting to watch. You might not be in the mood to watch the certain most popular show that's out there. You might want to invest your time into something else
Absolutely, yeah.
and everything too. So your interest may not be for that. Also, too, the reason why Netflix cancels shows is because of the fact that they don't instead of them coming out with new seasons, they just focus on new audiences versus the old audiences.
Mhm.
So therefore, they cancel the old shows to get new audience members. And
Bring
once
more
they get the
people,
new,
yeah.
yeah, and then once they get those new ones in, then they go on ahead and cancel those shows to get new audiences in.
Man, it's a revolving door. They close one
Right,
door to open another.
right. And I feel like with weekly shows for Netflix, they need to change their algorithm to where you get weekly shows. It gives a reason for the viewers to come back to invest their time into your shows,
Yeah.
and therefore they don't have to dust off the Netflix app or whatever app that they're using for streaming.
Re-download
Oh,
the app, yeah.
right, like, oh, okay, so they have this coming out. Okay, so I gotta go ahead and re-download this now.
Yep.
At least then you have a reason for them to come back, which is why people are watching Obi-Wan Kenobi. The reason why
Mhm.
they're watching other things. But speaking of Star Wars and everything, I know that we love Star Wars when we were growing up
Yes,
and everything too.
yes.
But what did you think? I never asked you this though when we were in seventh grade. But what did you think of the prequels and all that? Did you like any of the prequel stuff or?
I like the prequels. The first iteration of the prequels was not my favorite. Um, After that, it got a lot better. But yeah, the original three, man, nothing beats the original three. I mean, they're as old as me, but I love them.
Oh, same here. But the original three will always be my favorite. I
Yeah,
don't care what anybody says. Don't get me wrong. I love the battle between Darth Maul and Obi Wan just as much as the
yeah,
next person in the pod racing. That's about the only redeemable qualities about the
fair.
episode one. And
Good lord.
then it was just bad script writing when you looked at the prequels. But with Obi Wan, what I like about Obi Wan so far is this:
Hmm.
they're me. It's like watching a movie. It's like watching a cinematic movie with 6 episodes.
Oh, excellent.
It relies a little bit on TV. It feels like TV in some aspects, but other
Hmm.
aspects, it feels like it's more cinematic. Like you're,
Okay.
so that's me going into watching the first 3 episodes. The fourth episode just dropped tonight, and then they also dropped Miss Marvel today as well. I'm like, okay,
Oh
so
yeah, they
you're
did.
overlapping.
Hmm. So you got more to watch then.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I don't know what to do. So
Take one at a time.
exactly. But what other things have you been up to though lately?
Honestly, man, I've just been working. Besides that business, going back to school again. Glutton for punishment. It seems like I'm back in school for veterinary technology, and yeah, man, just can't get enough education in my life. It seems like.
But hey, man, I'm happy for you though with doing the vet school and things like that. I'm thrilled for you.
Thank you,
Seriously.
man. I appreciate it.
Welcome.
It's been a lot of work between, the full-time normal job at the vet office, school, the detailing business, and now the engagement. I'm blessed. I'm very blessed.
Same here. I know for a fact I'm gonna be a lot busy after I'm married and everything too. So
Absolutely, man.
my schedule is definitely gonna be loaded up. But I'm having fun. I'm having a blast doing this
And that's
podcast
what
and
it
stuff like that.
matters. That's all that
Exactly.
matters. As long as you're having fun, you're not working, man.
Exactly. And another thing I want to mention is this: we used to do a lot of skateboarding and things like that.
Oh
And
yeah.
you remember the amount of stuff that we used to have for like skateboards and stuff like that? We used to have like Brink was actually the
Oh
closest thing
yeah.
to that old
The
Disney show.
rollerblading movie, right?
Yeah, the rollerblading movie was
Yes.
probably the closest thing that you can get to X Games on a PG level. If
I
you
do
think about it.
remember it, man. I haven't seen that movie in so long.
It's actually on Disney Plus. I actually revisited about a year or two ago.
Yeah, man. I love that movie.
Same. And we used to go around town and everything with our zero boards and stuff like that, and try and find a place to actually skateboard. As a matter of fact, I remember Ernie
Oh
coming
yeah.
up with the skateboarding ramp idea
Hmm.
and everything. But
Yeah, man.
get this though, the closest thing to a ramp that we have is probably the parking lot of where Subway used to be.
Oh, I
Because
remember that.
yeah, that was pretty much where we actually skateboarded because it was like
Mhm.
everything else is flat.
Yep. The parking lot at Subway, they had over there by the Family Dollar. There's that
Yeah,
little gap in the concrete there that me and Ernie used to go ollie all the time. And then those little pillars that were in front of Pizza Hut, I think it was.
yeah.
Remember correctly.
Yeah, now that place is actually empty now. Like
Oh,
there's
great.
there's there's like only like one spot that's actually over there now. That's
wasn't
open.
wasn't that Greer's as well? Was that Greer's?
Rares was on the other side and
Okay,
everything on the other strip. Yeah,
gotcha. Okay, I think I know. It's been so long.
it really has. But I just love geeking out about different stuff and things like that.
Same.
As far um also too, I still remember when like American Pie was also another one of the things that remember that? That was
Oh
also
yeah.
another
My mom wanted to take me to see that, and I refused to go with her. I was like, "Well, I don't think we should go together." But that's just, I'm just gonna put that out there, mom.
Oh wow. I
We
didn't
did.
know that your mom wanted because you and her to both go see American Pie though. That was
Yeah, it was me and my mom and my nephew and someone else. I think my other nephew.
actually, you know what, sweetie? We don't have nothing else to do. So you know what? We're gonna go ahead and go see American Pie.
Mom, what's the cherry
Oh,
pie? Oh man, there
that's
were
gonna
so
be
many good
awkward,
movies in the '90s,
right?
though, man.
Definitely.
What were some of your
Especially
favorites?
well, we also mentioned Jurassic Park and things like
Mhm.
that. But as far as other '90s films and stuff, I mean, there's always like Forrest Gump. There's also The River Wild.
Yes.
Uh, all those old school '90s movies. I just
Mhm.
love. You know what I
Oh,
mean?
same. Absolutely. I feel
Um,
like there's nothing like them.
no, definitely
They're
not.
cheesy, but they're great.
They're cheap. Yeah, practical effects, no CGI or anything like that.
Mhm.
Everything's pretty much what you see is what you get.
Exactly.
But
I
what
love
about for
Three
you?
Ninjas, and I'm sorry.
Oh yeah, Three Ninjas. Let's talk about
Yeah,
that because I
man, that was my
remember.
favorite.
Yeah, because here's the
Rocky,
thing, dude.
Colt, and Tum Tum.
Because here's the thing, I remember me, you, Logan Obey, and everybody else just
Hmm.
talking about Three Ninjas,
Yep,
like talking about
absolutely.
different scenes and stuff like
Yeah.
that. The pizza delivery scene
Yep.
with the
Oh, with the
instant
pizza
diarrhea.
bomb. And
Yeah.
oh, the diarrhea and the coke. Yeah, you put the laxative in the coke. See, I feel like movies are totally different these days. They don't have those silly slapstick comedies, or maybe they do, and
No.
I'm just missing them. But
I feel like in a sense, like there's no danger aspect to it because of all the
mhm,
technology that we have.
yep.
And therefore you can't really do a house party movie, for example,
Mhm.
because of the fact you have technology.
Yeah,
You
it's
have
true.
parents that can track your phones. You have
Mhm.
even though they can be hackable, your parents could probably also hack it too, to the point where you can't have a house party or
Yeah,
anything.
I mean, yeah,
So
times are definitely different.
exactly, there was that danger aspect of the fact that you might could get away with something.
Hmm.
now there's not any type of danger at all. If you think
No,
about it as that.
you can't get away with anything these days. Not saying we
No,
should try, but
no. But even with the new Scream movie, they
Mhm.
incorporated the new technology with the locked doors, with the automatic locked door systems and stuff like that, and played around with the technology with that, which is actually pretty cool that they did on the opening scene.
Are we talking Scream 5 or the new one
Yes,
that's coming?
this new one that just came
Scream
out.
5. Gotcha. Aren't they
Uh,
making a Scream 6 now, though?
Actually, let's see here. Scream 4, Scream 5. Yeah, they did a Scream 5. So, yeah, this is Scream 6.
Nice. Okay.
But
Beautiful,
Nev
man. Yeah, that's
Campbell is
going
not
on
coming
long.
back.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she said that she doesn't really want to come back to it because of the fact that there was nothing really for her to do in the last Scream movie or anything like that. And she
Mhm.
just felt like her time was wasted on that set.
Okay. Well, that stinks.
It does. But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? I love legendary characters, but if they're
Mhm.
handled in the right way.
Exactly, yeah. Like
And
Jamie.
I, and here's the thing though, man. Like, okay, I watched the new Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie,
Mhm.
and it sucked.
Really?
Like, yeah, like the legendary character from the 1976 original Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Mhm.
She's in it. She's in the movie,
Oh, wow.
and she does something completely stupid and gets herself killed.
Mm.
And I'm like, really? So you wasted her character to be stupid when she
Yeah.
could have been a smarter character because she survived Leatherface.
Mhm. Coulda made her like a
But
Jamie Lee Curtis character.
exactly. And I remember when you saw the sixth Halloween movie, you're like, dude, you need to go see Halloween: The Curse of Michael Myers.
Mhm.
And that's when I went on ahead and saw that. And ever since then, I started watching Halloween movies
Yeah,
because
man,
of
that was
that.
one of my favorites. That was probably one of the first ones I saw was The Curse of Michael Myers, and then I moved backwards and then forward
Me
from there
too.
on the movie series.
But with here's the thing, I love the new way that they actually did the last Halloween movie, not Halloween Kills, the one before that one.
Mhm.
It was just Halloween, the
Yeah.
2017 or 18 version. I like that a lot better because it had like the slow, tense, kind of slow burn to it
Mhm.
and more of a psychological aspect to it. With
Yep.
this next one, they did something totally stupid where
Mm.
basically it's called Halloween Kills, but he's killing everybody. There's no plot to it. There's nothing as not. And I'm like, I think I know what the problem is. It's very atmospheric, where
Yeah.
to the point where it doesn't do anything for you. It's good to have those legendary characters back like Tommy Doyle,
Yeah.
but he does something stupid too.
Mhm.
And then you
Oh
have
god.
Jamie Lee Curtis. Then you also have Jamie Lee Curtis who's sitting on the bed on the sidelines in the hospital bed
Hmm. I
the whole
haven't seen it.
time.
Honestly, the last Halloween I saw was the Rob Zombie remake Halloween. I really enjoyed that one. It was a lot darker.
I like the Rob Zombie, the very first Halloween one that he made. The
Mhm.
second one, no. The second
Maybe I'm
one,
confused. Is it the one
yep,
with the young boy with the blonde hair?
yeah.
Yeah.
But he made a sequel to that one
Mhm.
because the studios wanted him to make another one, and he didn't want to, so he made another Halloween movie
Okay.
with the same people and stuff like that. But it wasn't as good as the
That's
prequel
good.
one that he did.
Ah, man. Yeah, I love the prequel one. That was probably one of my favorites in a long time.
Same. But I think that some prequels are good and some prequels are just bad.
Mhm.
Sometimes I just wish that they wouldn't do prequel films because
Exactly.
we grew up on a time where we didn't need anything to be explained to us.
Mm-mm, no, you use this.
Exactly. You used your imagination, you could speculate with
Mhm.
friends and things like that. You didn't have to rely on the director showing you everything,
Exactly.
explaining
Yeah. Here.
stuff.
Oh, by the way, this is how it happened.
Right. And that's the little nitpick stuff that I find in movies that I don't really care for anymore.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
nowadays, because the director feels like he has to explain everything.
Do you feel like they're running out of ideas for movies, so they're having to go back to prequels to give us something to watch?
There was, to be honest with you, there was a time whenever I felt like that way up until I saw like indie films and stuff like that.
Hmm.
I'm more of an indie film goer ever since I
Absolutely.
started doing the indie film festivals and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But sometimes you wind up getting a film like Top Gun or somewhere around that area where you wind up saying, you know what, that's actually pretty fun to actually revisit those characters after so many years and seeing what they've been up to, seeing how they
Absolutely.
changed. And then there's
Yeah.
sometimes where it's like, why did I waste 2 hours of my life that I can't get back for this movie?
Yeah, I've been through a couple of those myself, actually.
What were some of the ones that made you say, okay, well, this movie just sucks?
Man, well, not so much as a sequel, but there's been a lot of movies. That movie Eli, I don't know if you've watched that one about the
Not.
kid that's oh gosh, I can't remember.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. This was on Netflix.
Yeah, it was a Netflix movie, I think. It just
Yeah,
really didn't do it for me.
I to be honest with you, that movie made me want to rage quit
Yep.
because it it was about not understanding the identification of the movie itself
hmm
and knowing what it wanted to be.
Exactly. Exactly.
And
Nope.
the very first half is great, and then all of a sudden they
hmm
do all this other stuff, and it just loses you.
That's where I got lost too. After the first half, I'm like, okay, what's going on now?
Right?
Nothing's going on.
It's like okay, well, you know what? Now we're gonna resurrect him and do this. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
what?
You
This
said what?
you explained the rules on this part, and now you're changing the rules on this,
It's a
and
totally different movie now.
right, it's a misidentification of a movie that you know and that's how I feel. I just feel like that some movies are just have misidentifications of where they
Agreed.
don't know where it wants to be.
Just to backtrack on Netflix a little bit, I think one movie I did like, I think that was a Netflix original, was In the Tall Grass. That was a
Oh, you
pretty
like
good
that one?
movie. I did actually.
Okay,
It
that's
played
cool.
with my mind just enough. It had me annoyed and then had me intrigued. So
I gotcha. Hey, I'm glad that movie worked for you. That movie just
mm,
didn't work for me.
it didn't work.
Nah, it didn't work for me. But here's the thing, though: all movies are subjective.
Exactly.
I'm glad that movie worked for you. It's
hmm
just that I love Stephen King, and for me, who loves Stephen King, and I
hmm
understand what they were doing. The time loop stuff just didn't work for me in the tall grass. That's
It
just
felt
me.
like a lot like M Night Shyamalan to me a little bit.
It does in a sense if you think
hmm
about it.
And he
But
has a new
it's
movie coming out too called Old, I think.
yeah, as a matter of fact, that's actually on HBO Max now. That movie came out last year too.
Oh, oh, really? Okay, I'm
Yeah,
behind.
yep.
So,
But I need to check that one out. I haven't checked out that one. I'm kind of iffy on it because of the
mm,
fact that he did great with the movie Split,
yeah,
and and then you wind up having Glass, which was not even that great of a film.
no, I could have skipped it honestly and been
I used to
okay.
call him the Sham Hammer because of the fact that you know, he remember whenever he first started out, everyone raked him as like the next Steven Spielberg, and that just
Yeah,
went to his head.
yeah, because he had what The Village and The Sixth Sense, Unbreakable. All those movies were
Exactly.
great when they came out, but then yeah, went to
Yeah,
his
he
head.
had Unbreakable. He had Sixth Sense, Signs.
Oh yeah, Signs,
Um,
that one too. Yeah.
and I feel like this. I feel like Signs now is a little overrated in a sense because if you
hmm
saw the twist, there's no reason for you to go back again unless you want to check, unless you
Exactly.
watched it for the first time.
hmm
But after a while, it just feels like another normal movie. It's like, okay, I get it.
Yeah.
He's dead the whole time. Okay,
Mhm. But the anticipation built you up though. Like I was so
yeah,
excited to see it when it came out.
me too. It was definitely creepy. I remember
Mhm.
seeing it in theaters over in Bogalusa.
Oh yeah.
And I remember this one woman was just cussing because of the fact that whenever I remember when that one creepy scene, remember where he has the sheet over his head, and then you
hmm
see this other figure in the bed with him with
Yep.
her head. She goes, Jesus Christ, and and she was just not expecting that. And I'm like, you see,
Gets up,
this is why I
walks
like.
out.
No, she stayed there the whole time, but she just wasn't expecting it. And I'm like, this is why I like going to the movies to see other people's
hmm
reactions
So
and
I'm glad
stuff
you said
too.
that because I feel like I feed off those reactions. When
Me too.
everybody's scared, I'm more scared, and when everybody's excited, I'm more excited about it.
Exactly. And I'm like, sometimes you can feed off the negative energy of that to the
hmm
point where you don't like the movie
Yeah.
because
Yeah, that
nobody's
happens.
laughing, no one's having a good time. And I fed off some negative energy before
hmm
and everything, especially with Johnny Depp and Black Mass. I'm laughing at the dark
Oh
humor in
yeah.
it. And then nobody's laughing in the theater. I'm like, okay, am I really this dark?
Maybe I should watch it at home.
Right. But I love watching a no, Don't Breathe in the movie theater.
Mhm. Oh yeah.
And I remember these two girls in the back of me, and they were like this the whole time, covering up their face because they were so scared. And I'm like, this is what I love about going to the zoo. You
Hmm.
do not get this at home. You do not get the
No,
home experience.
not at all. You can mute the TV and just look away for a second and be
Right.
scared.
Exactly. But
Hide in the
anyways,
covers.
man, that's everything that I wanted to talk about as far as this goes. But is there anything else that you wanted to touch on before we close out?
Oh no, man! Again, I just wanted to thank you, and I appreciate your support with everything here. And I'm
Welcome.
really glad to see your podcast and everything taking off too, man.
Thanks, man, because I've been doing this for a long time. So just
Hmm.
to see it being taken off the way it is, it's
Yeah,
just
man.
great. So
Absolutely.
let's see here. So tomorrow night, I'm going to be doing my Godfather 2 rewatch review with
Beautiful.
Rossie and Alex. So we're going to be doing that.
Excellent.
Yes, I can't wait to do this. And 9 o'clock, that's going to be 9 o'clock Central Time, 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Time for that one. And then on Friday, we're going to be doing an Obi-Wan Episode 4 review at 9 o'clock Central Time and 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Time for that one. So that's everything that we're doing here. And then also, too, a little later, I'm going to be doing a trailer reaction to Black Adam. The Rock's going to be Black Adam. So that's going to be uploaded and be done for 6:30 in the morning. So go ahead and tune in for that. And then go ahead and support us. All you have to do is go over to the link below. You find Kyle's business on the link. Then, of course, you can also go ahead and support me by going to bonfire.com and buy some merch. That's how you guys can support me. Just hit that link and you can buy yourself some merch. And always until next time, guys, it's been real. It's been fun. I can't wait to do this again. And